Very good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on Rajya Sabha television, where we get to the biggest developing news stories this hour. I'm Ashwarya and these are the headlines. Prime Minister Modi to reach China's Qingdao in a short while from now as India seeks new level of engagement with the SCO countries after becoming a full-fledged member last year. Modi to have one more meeting with Chinese President only a few weeks after Wuhan meet. UN Chief Antonio Guterres commends India for its leadership and solidarity over its strong commitment to multilateralism, calls India a very important inspiration for the international community. After warnings for a very heavy rainfall for the weekend, heavy downpour in Mumbai as the monsoon makes a landing today. Civic body cancels leaves of all the senior officials. Monsoon rains to continue pace in Karnataka and Kerala for the next 4 days. For the first time in 17 years, the Taliban agrees to ceasefire with Afghan forces, announces a 3-day ceasefire over Eid holiday. This after President Ashraf Ghani's announcement of unconditional ceasefire with the Taliban at the end of Ramadan. And Indian Eves crushed Pakistan by 7 wickets in a completely lopsided match to reach the final of the Women's Asia Cup T20 tournament. Will meet the winner of the semi-final match between Malaysia and Bangladesh in the summit clash on Sunday. Our top story this afternoon, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in China's Qingdao to attend the 2-day Shanghai Cooperation Organization or the SCO Summit beginning today. Now, it will be the first SCO Summit since its expansion when India and Pakistan were included as full members at the Astana Summit in Kazakhstan last year. Now, India is likely to pitch for concerted regional and global action against terror networks and favour effective connectivity links to boost trade. Now, this is Prime Minister Modi's second visit to China this year. And hours after his arrival, Prime Minister Modi is also scheduled to hold a bilateral meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, during which the two leaders are expected to explore ways to deepen ties in the areas of trade and investment, besides reviewing the overall bilateral cooperation between India and China. During his visit to Qingdao, Prime Minister Modi will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping multiple times, and today's meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi comes 6 weeks after the two leaders held an informal summit in central China's Wuhan city, during which they exchanged views on solidifying the relationship between the two nations. And ahead of the SCO Summit, Prime Minister Modi said that he was excited to lead the Indian delegation for the grouping's first ever meeting with India as a full-fledged member. He went on to say that in the last 1 year since India became a full member of the SCO, our interaction with the organization and its member states has grown considerably. He said, I believe that the Qingdao Summit will further enrich the SCO agenda, while heralding a new beginning for India's engagement with the SCO. Meanwhile, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Ravish Kumar also tweeted this morning with 8 members. SCO represents approximately 42% of the world's population, 22% of the land area and 20% of the GDP. SCO focuses on political, economic, security and cultural cooperation and enables India to engage with the Central Asian countries. All right, my colleague Vishal Daya is joining us live from China. Very good afternoon, Vishal. We understand that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in China, and India says that its relations with China has gone through a transformation, especially after the informal Wuhan summit. In fact, yesterday, India's ambassador to China had also said that both nations have moved on from the Doklam issue, that peaked in 2017. So in that backdrop, what all can we expect in the talks between the two leaders today?
Well, Aishwarya, there is a lot to expect when both the leaders will meet almost 2.5 hours from now. As per the local time, 6 p.m. in Qingdao here in China. And what is being talked about on the agenda for the bilateral talks between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping is going to be centered around the cooperation between both the nations in the economic areas, as well as people-to-people contact also. But more importantly, it would be really interesting to see as to what both leaders will have to say in their respective address at the SCO summit, because one of the agendas of the summit, which will happen tomorrow, is the entire issue of regional security challenges and how to tackle the issue of terror. And as far as both China and India are concerned, time and again there have been statements which have come in from both nations about a need to put in place a regional mechanism to tackle the issue of terror. And this is one platform which is being talked about by all the representatives of all these 8 member nations, that this particular forum can be used very effectively by all these countries to ensure that the menace of terror is dealt with effectively in this entire region. So we'll have to wait and watch as to what exactly will both these leaders say on the issue of terror, as well as what will Qingdao declaration go ahead and focus on as far as security issues and a terror issue is concerned. But yes, it's not only about security and anti-terror mechanism, it's also about forging a more strong ties between all the member nations of the SCO. And obviously India would want to go ahead and benefit from the present situation, wherein for the first time India is now attending the SCO as a member state. Yes. Although it had an observer status earlier, but this time around it would be the first meeting for India as a member nation of the SCO. So clearly this would give a bit more opportunity for India to go ahead and interact with other member states and ensure that better cooperation is put into place via various mechanisms, be it people-to-people contact or connectivity, or increased ratio of trade and commerce and other economic activities between all the nations involved here. Aishwarya?
All right. Thank you so much, Vishal. So India looking for closer cooperation with all those SCO member nations, as well as Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping meeting during the SCO is to take the Wuhan consensus forward. Thank you so much, Vishal. We'll keep coming back to you for more updates on that story. On to the other top story of the day. The United Nations chief has described India as a very important inspiration for the international community. Now, hailing India for its leadership in a development partnership fund with the United Nations, UN Chief Antonio Guterres said that it has emerged as a vital example of a deepening South-South cooperation. Now, Guterres thanked India for its strong commitment to multilateralism and a partnership with the United Nations. He further said that India played a very important role in shaping the Sustainable Development Goals, saying that even before the goals were crystallized, India's own development efforts and vision reflected many of the same priorities and aspirations. The India-UN Development Partnership was launched last year with the aim of assisting the projects for the implementation of the SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals, in partner countries.
India played a very important role in shaping the Sustainable Development Goals. And even before the goals were crystallized, India's own development efforts and vision reflected many of the same priorities and aspirations. I thank India for its strong commitment to multilateralism and to partnership with the United Nations, which is expressed in many ways across the global agenda, but which we see again through the activities of these important funds.
And back home, on the second day of his two-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir, Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh reviewed the security situation in the state on Friday, and he assured the forces that they will be joined by reinforcements in the days to come. The Home Minister said that taking cognizance of repeated heavy shelling by Pakistan, the government will deploy 9 new battalions. Out of these, 2 will be deployed in the sensitive areas, and 60% of reservation will be given to the people from border areas of Jammu and Kashmir in these 5 battalions. He also assured that the army will have 5 new bulletproof ambulances in the state. Singh also reiterated the MHA's scheme of giving 5 lakh rupees to the kin of those killed during cross-border firing and ceasefire violations. He said that the amount will now be directly credited into the account of the next of kin, and that all conditions relating to fixed deposit will be removed. Earlier, the Home Minister visited the frontier district of Kupwara and interacted with the residents in the border areas. He also visited the district police lines and paid tribute to the martyrs of Jammu and Kashmir Police Force.
76,000 या 1 लाख रुपया कोई कैजुअलिटी होती थी तो उनको मिलती थी। अब वो भी फिक्स डिपॉजिट किया जाता था 3 साल के लिए, या क्या है 3 साल के लिए फिक्स डिपॉजिट, और उसका उपयोग करना चाहें तो 3 साल के अंदर वो नहीं कर सकते। लेकिन अब यह फैसला किया है कि जो भी कैजुअलिटीज होंगी तो उनके परिवार के सदस्यों को 5 लाख रुपए की धनराशि मुहैया कराई जाएगी। फिक्स डिपॉजिट की शर्त हमने समाप्त कर दी है, सीधे उनके बैंक अकाउंट में पैसा जाएगा।
And after the Pune police reportedly revealed an alleged plot by the Maoists to assassinate Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a Rajiv Gandhi-type incident, Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the Maoists are fighting a losing battle. Now, responding to such reports, Singh said that the government is very cautious about the security of the Prime Minister. Asserting that the Maoist threat has considerably reduced in the country, he added that out of the 135 districts affected by Maoist violence, only 10 districts remained worst hit. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and the state police had revealed the Maoist plan similar to former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's assassination. Now, Fadnavis said that the state police seized internal communication from a Maoist commander to his cadres, revealing the plan from a group of 5 people arrested by the Pune police on Wednesday.
वैसे हम लोग अपने प्राइम मिनिस्टर के सिक्योरिटी को लेकर बराबर गंभीर रहते हैं, और माओइस्ट का जहां तक सवाल है उनके बारे में मैं कहना चाहूंगा, इस समय हारी हुई लड़ाई वो लड़ रहे हैं। माओ एक्सट्रीमिज्म, माओवादी उग्रवाद अब काफी कम हो चुका है।
एक इंटरनल कम्युनिकेशन ये भी प्राप्त हुआ है जिसमें एक कमांडर ने दूसरे उनके व्यक्ति को लिखा हुआ वो पत्र है जिसमें पूरा प्लान किस प्रकार से, जिस प्रकार से श्री राजीव गांधी जी की हत्या हुई थी उसी प्रकार से उसी मॉड्यूल में मोदी जी की भी हत्या किस प्रकार से की जाए, इस प्रकार के प्लान को उसमें शेयर किया गया है।
And several union ministers have voiced their concern over the alleged threat to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Union Minister Arun Jaitley has blamed some political parties for using Maoist as their instrument in the anti-NDA cause. Also, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad termed the reports as deeply disturbing and said that the Maoists never believe in democracy and respect for constitutional norms are alien to them. And Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the government is working on a mass deportation of Rohingyas residing in different parts of our country, including in Kashmir. In this regard, the government has issued a written advisory to the states asking them to identify and get the records of the Rohingyas currently staying in India, including their biometric data and other details. He added that after compiling the data, the issue will be handed over to the Ministry of External Affairs, who will then conduct talks with the Ministry of External Affairs of the Myanmar government to initiate a Rohingya deportation. Currently, there are around 40,000 Rohingyas in our country.
अपने मंत्रालय से हम लोगों ने सभी राज्य सरकारों को ये लिखा है कि यदि आपके राज्य में कहीं पर रोहिंग्या रह रहे हैं तो उनको आइडेंटिफाई किया जाए, उनकी बायोमेट्रिक ली जाए और साथ ही साथ उनका सर्वे भी किया जाए। कितनी संख्या में वहां पर रोहिंग्यास हैं इसकी जानकारी जो है केंद्र सरकार को भी उपलब्ध कराई जाए। और साथ ही एक प्रिकॉशन लेने के लिए और कहा है, कोई ऐसा डॉक्यूमेंट उन्हें नहीं दिया जाना चाहिए जिसे वह भविष्य में सिटीजनशिप के बारे में क्लेम कर सके।
On to some other news now. India's first indigenous long-range artillery gun Dhanush has passed its final test at Pokhran on Friday, paving the way for its induction into the Indian Army. The guns passed its tests under severe cold conditions in Sikkim and in Leh, and in hot and humid weather in Balasore, Odisha, Bambina in Jhansi, and in the desert of Pokhran in Rajasthan. Dhanush, also known as Desi Bofors. All right, we'll get you all the visuals right now from China, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed. He's there to attend the SCO Summit and also to hold talks with the Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the SCO meeting. And you can see the live visuals from China's Qingdao, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed. This as India is looking to seek new levels of engagement with the SCO countries. Remember, it is the first time after India became a full member of the SCO that Prime Minister Modi is there in China to attend the SCO Summit. He is being greeted there by the officials, Chinese officials there. In fact, Prime Minister there interacting with the officials there. So these are the live visuals that we are getting from China. Prime Minister Modi is on a 2-day visit to China, where he is going to participate in the SCO Summit today. Today, in a short while from now, in about 2.5 hours, as Vishal was telling us, Prime Minister Modi will hold talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping. And tomorrow morning, the Prime Minister will take part in the SCO Summit. All right, let's get more details. Vishal Daya is now joining us on the phone line. Vishal, these are the live visuals that we are getting as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in China, where he is going to take part in the SCO Summit. Of course, as you were telling us in the day earlier, that Prime Minister Modi will, in a short while from now, hold talks with the Chinese president. What else is the agenda for today?
Well, as of now, Prime Minister Modi is headed towards his hotel in the Qingdao city. From there, the first few engagements for the Prime Minister include welcome by the Secretary General of the SCO Secretariat here, and then he will also interact and hold a small meeting with the Indian community, though the Indian community in Qingdao city is not that big. It's around 400 to 500, or rather around 300 to 400 Indians who live in Qingdao city. That includes students as well. But as is the tradition and the convention with the Prime Minister Modi, that wherever he goes, he makes it a point to meet the Indian citizens or people of Indian origin who've been living in those places. So this time around as well, a small interaction is expected to take place after he arrives at the hotel. And then from there onwards, Prime Minister is expected to move to another location now for one-on-one meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now this one will be a very important event. This is the one meeting on which a lot of interest has been generated here in Qingdao in China, as well as to what exactly will both the leaders be focusing on. What our sources say that both Prime Minister Modi and President Xi will want to go ahead and take the relation between both the nations forward from where it was left in Wuhan in that informal summit which took place around 45 days ago. And interestingly, this will be the second such meeting between both the leaders in less than 2 months. So it assumes a lot of significance, Aishwarya, and that will be one important meeting. Apart from that, Prime Minister Modi will also hold a one-on-one dialogue with the presidents of Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan today. And we've been told that this would be in addition to the banquet, which will be hosted by the host here, that is China's President Xi Jinping. So these all are the items on the agenda for the Prime Minister today. And the most important one, as all of us know, is the meeting with the Chinese president. Tomorrow is the SCO Summit, and tomorrow's day we will see in the first half, somewhere around noon, the Prime Minister will be addressing the SCO Summit, and then later on he will also participate in the sideline dialogues also.
All right. Thank you so much, Vishal, for all those updates there. And back home, a level 4 fire broke out today inside Patel Chambers in Mumbai's Fort area. Now, 2 fire tenders were injured after a part of the building collapsed while they were dousing the fire. At least 18 fire tenders are present at the spot to douse the flames. No casualties have been reported so far. Other nearby buildings have also been evacuated. The cause of the fire at the moment is not immediately known. Meanwhile, Mumbai received a fresh round of rainfall today after the weather department forecast heavy downpour in the city over the weekend. Now, the downpour has resulted in severe waterlogging in many parts of the city. The Met department has said that the southwest monsoon reaches the city today and predicted increased rainfall activity in Mumbai starting today till 12th of June. 2 flights, meanwhile, were diverted this morning from Mumbai airport due to bad weather. Several areas in Mumbai have already received heavy rains with the onset of pre-monsoon showers. IMD has advised people to remain indoors. The BMC has also cancelled the leaves of all its senior officials to prepare for any emergency. Meanwhile, heavy rain has also been forecast for coastal Karnataka, Goa and south of Maharashtra. The thunderstorm, accompanied with the gusty winds and lightning, are also likely at isolated places over Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab and UP. But heat wave conditions continue to prevail in the north of the country. 5 people were killed in Uttar Pradesh and 2 in Odisha due to lightning strikes yesterday. The maximum temperature in the national capital was recorded at 40.5 degrees Celsius. Heat wave conditions are very likely at 1 or 2 pockets over western Rajasthan, as the Churu recorded a high of 45.5 degrees Celsius. Let's get you all the international news now. The Taliban has announced a 3-day ceasefire with the Afghan security forces for Eid. But Taliban's operations against foreign occupiers would continue, they said. The announcement from the Taliban came after Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani on Thursday declared a unilateral week-long ceasefire with the Taliban. He tweeted that the ceasefire would last from the 27th day of Ramadan until the 5th day of Eid. And this is the first time that Taliban has agreed to a ceasefire for Eid since the US invasion in 2001. The US has also welcomed the ceasefire announcement.
The level of confidence today is sufficient for President Ghani to announce a temporary ceasefire for the end of Ramadan, offering the Taliban an opportunity to bring to an end this fighting and providing the world a clear demonstration of his government and our alliance's commitment to peace and an Afghan-led, Afghan-owned peace process.
And good news from the world of cricket. Indian women's team put in a brilliant all-round performance to outclass Pakistan and reach the final of the Women's Asia T20 tournament in Kuala Lumpur this morning. Now, bowling first, India first restricted Pakistan to just 72 runs for the loss of 7 wickets. Thereafter, despite losing Mithali Raj and Deepti Sharma early, a 65-run third wicket between Smriti Mandhana and captain Harmanpreet Kaur saw India home in 16.1 overs. Skipper Harmanpreet Kaur remained unbeaten on 34 to take her side to the victory. India will face the winner of the semi-final between Bangladesh versus Malaysia that will be played later today, and the final will be played on Sunday. And finally, news from the Roland Garros, where top seed Romanian Simona Halep will take on world number 10 seed Sloane Stephens in the women's final today. Now, Halep will play for her first Grand Slam win against American Stephens, who is looking to win her second major title after winning the US Open last year. And in the men's singles, a 10-time champion Rafael Nadal reached his 11th French Open final on Friday, beating Juan Martin Del Potro in straight sets. Nadal will now take on Austrian pair Dominic Thiem. This will be Thiem's first Grand Slam title, but the match will make it an interesting watch, as the 7th-seed Thiem is the only man to beat Nadal on clay in the last 2 seasons, in Madrid this year and in Rome in 2017. And that's it from me and my team in this edition of Midday News. Thanks so much for watching.